So you have seen that whenever we are talking about digestion, whenever we are talking about absorption of the food, whenever we are talking about the detoxification of the harmful material, the movement or flow of the food through the blood and exchange of the food between different parts of the organs through the blood or through the capillaries is of highest importance. So we should not only keep in mind when we are talking about the circulatory system that only it's the flow of the blood through in your body. It is an essential integral component of your of your metabolic pathways. I mean, your metabolism cannot take place if the food, the constituents of your foods are not being able to move through your blood. So as mentioned, the most important function, of course, as far as the metabolism is concerned, of the blood circulatory system is the transportation of nutrients. You are digesting your food and this food is converted into small nutrients, and these nutrients have to become part of your bloodstream for the production of energy and other macromolecules. In addition to the transportation of the nutrients, a very important function of the this blood circulatory system is the transportation of oxygen. Of course, when we are talking about different metabolic pathways, we don't talk much about the oxygen, but keep in mind that at the end of the day, the major function of metabolism is to give energy, and that energy the production of that energy has to depend upon your terminal carrier, the potent terminal carrier, that is oxygen. Actually, that's why we say the metabolism in us is aerobic, because it depends upon oxygen. So if oxygen is not transported in different parts of the bodies or in any part of the body, that part will die because energy will not be produced. Metabolic pathways will cease to occur. Then hormonal distribution, of course, our body not only depends upon nutrients for whatever function it's doing, it also depends upon the hormones for its proper functioning, for its proper homeostasis. Your physiology very much depends, actually, it totally depends upon the signaling, the cellular signaling, and the signaling in turn depends, one of the very major factor which control the signaling, which regulate the signaling, is the hormonal signaling. So the transportation of hormones is also of utmost importance as far as the functioning of the blood circulatory system is concerned. You eat something, you make use of the nutrients which are part of that food, you get the energy, then there would be waste product also, and that waste product have to be excreted by the actioning of your kidneys. So that again depends upon your blood circulatory system. If there is no blood circulatory system, of course, your waste product will never be able to reach towards the final portion of your digestive system from where it has to be excreted. So starting from when you take the food in your mouth till its excretion or till the excretion of the harmful substances, the blood circulatory system is of fundamental importance. As far as the component of the blood circulatory system is concerned, of course, how can we forget the most important part? Perhaps the most important part in one way or the other of your body is heart. I mean, it is poetically associated with your life. We always say कि दिल ही तो है, दिल मर गया तो इंसान मर गया. The reason behind this is that the whole transportation of the blood throughout your body depends upon the pumping of your heart. And then once this pumping ceases, the blood transportation will cease, and your cells will dry, the nutrients will not be able to reaching to different parts of the body, oxygen will not be able to reach, and eventually you die. This pump, the heart, it contains 4 chambers, 2 atria and two ventricles. The right side of the heart pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and in the lungs, this blood is then oxygenated. Then the left side of the heart pumps the oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. Of course, body needs the oxygenated blood because oxygen have to reach to different parts of the body, as already discussed. Then there are this blood flows through different components of the blood circulatory system. The arteries are those which take the blood from the heart to different parts of the bodies. Then there are capillaries which are involved in the exchange of the nutrients between different parts of the body. And then there are the veins which take the deoxygenated blood towards the heart again, and the heart then send it again to the lungs for the oxygenation of the blood. Then, of course, the transport, as far as the transport of the nutrients are concerned, what nutrients we are talking about? Of course, the nutrients here we are talking about, which come from the degradation of your food. The carbohydrates are converted into glucoses or other simple sugars. Your proteins are converted into amino acids, lipids are converted into fatty acids. They all have to become the part of your bloodstream, and from here they are moved from one part of the body to the other for the production of energy, or for the production of other macromolecules or other structures of your body. The lipids are a little bit important here, or a little bit different here, in the sense that they need special lipoprotein molecules or lipoprotein particles like VLDLs, LDLs, HDLs, chylomicrons. You have read a lot about it. We have talked a lot about this, that why it is so important that lipids have to be packaged into these particles and then move through different parts of the body. And they have this packaging into VLDL, LDL, chylomicrons and HDLs, and their transportation and their, at the end of the day, metabolism very much is associated with overall health of your body. I mean, needless to say that the lipids are the most important, most potent, if not important, at least most potent energy source. That's why it's important that their transportation is carried about in the most efficient way. That's why we have the lipoproteins over there. Oxygen delivery, which is the oxygen delivered, not, I mean, it doesn't just get dissolved into the blood and move from one part of the blood to the other. There is a special mechanism for the transportation of oxygen. That's a special proteins known as hemoglobin, which is present in the RBCs, the red blood cells, that it has a great affinity to bind with the oxygen, and the transportation of oxygen from one part of the body to the other part of the body through blood it takes place through the hemoglobin. Of course, carbon dioxide is the waste product of your respiratory system, and or waste product also of your metabolism, and it has to be transported back to the lungs, from where it has to be pumped out of your or exhaled from your body. So it's very important that not only you transport oxygen to different parts of the body, you also get rid of carbon dioxide from your body, because its accumulation can be very toxic. Hormone, I have already told you, transportation of hormone is very important, like of insulin or thyroid hormones. I mean, you name it. These hormones are important for cellular signaling, for the maintenance of the overall hemostasis of our body. And finally, there comes a waste products which has to be released from your body, and blood circulatory system play important role. The urea is the final waste product of the amino acid metabolism. Actually, you know, ammonia is obtained is one of the product of the amino acid metabolism or amino acid degradation. That ammonia is highly toxic. It has to be converted into urea, which is much less toxic, and that ammonia in that way that urea is released or excreted from the kidneys. Also, sometimes you know that lactic acid is also produced, especially when there is anaerobic type of metabolism, and that lactic acid can also lead to lactic acidosis or acidosis, in which the acidity of the body or of the blood increases. It can also be harmful. So that lactic acid have to be transported to the liver, from where it then can be converted back into the glucose, so that its harmful effects are minimized. The transportation of different materials is important. Another very important function of blood, which is usually ignored, is the thermoregulation. Thermoregulation means that your body temperature is maintained. You know, we are warm-blooded animals, or we are warm-blooded organisms. When we say that we are warm-blooded animals, we are talking about all the vertebrates which are warm-blooded, including human. So this thermoregulation is brought about by, of course, your skin is also a very important part of this, your body, and also your blood system, like your blood vessels, they dilate or constrict according to the need of the body, and in that way the temperature of the body is maintained. Last but by no means the least, the immune system. Of course, the immune system depends upon your immune cells, and these immune cells come from the blood cells, the white blood cells. And not only the white blood cells are important for the immunity, for activation of the immune responses, also the flow of the blood is important, because it make it possible that because of the flow of the blood, white blood cells or your immune cells also flow towards the target region where injury or whatever infection or anything like that occurs, and in that way the immune system play its role to decrease the effect, or to decrease that effect of the infection, to kill the microorganism there. So in that way, the blood circulatory system is not only important transportation of different materials, including oxygen, but also it is involved in thermoregulation and in your proper functioning of your immune system. Actually, immune system would have not been there if there was no blood circulatory system.